So yeah, I think we'll. And because it looks good, it's something we hear from clients all the time. It's something we used to say to justify why we want a particular aesthetic. And we found that we were essentially looking at buildings or houses like we'd use Tinder or Bumble. And I found retrofits and juxtaposition as a way to learn to move beyond the visual. For example, hot new structures in your hood. Who are these buildings in your neighborhood? And could we use them to understand why we like what we like? So why do you like a building or a house? Is it because of principles of proportion, scale, color? This lady has a blog, and that's a house I like in Margao. You probably do too. It's the Colasso house, I believe. It's a rational way of understanding why we like things, but it could also be what we're told. My babysitter Amanda's here. She's always sending me stuff on Instagram saying you should build this. It's way cooler than anything you're working on right now. Our perception is largely influenced by what celebrities or our friends endorse. And there's multiple ways of looking at things. There's also, Nat Geo had a parasite which makes rats unafraid of cats. And it could be biology. You could like buildings just because of who you are, not externally influenced by other factors. So because there are so many ways you can like things, it's perhaps important to move beyond the pictures and ask not how, but why. We're asking why we're doing things. Like she asked, why the lehenga? Why are all these visuals on the lehenga? And for example, in my neighborhood in Margao, it's crazy chaotic. We have over 500 vendors in the Margao market, and data here informed how we retrofitted the space. So this is a massive urban retrofit. We're swapping out a part of the city center, documented all of the shops and stalls, gave them numbers. I'm one of these data points, walking around some days, driving around on others. So here, data and statistics informed how we would go about with a large urban retrofit like this. And a friend of mine asked me, you have a pretty messy scenario. Why not just swap it out for a mall? The mall is the hot new thing on the block. Why not just upgrade your city street into a mall? Loop it up into various floors. Everyone loves air conditioning. But it got us wondering, was this really the best alternative to an urban retrofit to the market? Then we came across Watershed and the V&A waterfront in Cape Town. So this, in Tinder terms, would be a long-term relationship with your community. What they did was they made the local markets trendy without swapping out small players and local businesses. They took the best parts of the mall and they brought it to the local neighborhood. And it inspired what we were trying to do for Margao too, with trendier stores, functional visuals. It's an aesthetic based on empathy and end-user requirements. You probably recognize the Panjim market visuals. We try to make them more functional, for example, pointing to taxi stands. At a smaller scale, we're working on a retrofit and reconstruction for the parochial house in Bati, Our Lady of Guadalupe Church, where given the adjacency to this historic structure, it's very important to sensitively manage how we retrofit the parochial house adjacent to the church building. So here the material palette is sympathetic to the original. We also balance scale and proportion because we're not trying to compete with the original structure. We're trying to match its ambition. So an analogy would be picture Gladiator 2, the sequel to the Gladiator. Everyone loves Russell Crowe, but now you have Denzel and Pedro Pascal. It's different. They're not really competing with him. We're matching the ambition of the original. We're sympathetic to scale. But it's not a contest. You can love the original, you can love the sequel, you can love Russell Crowe and Pedro Pascal. So what we found is that most of us like this, like built nostalgia. We like little details. We like smaller scale. I do too, personally. Bento Miguel building in Panjim, for example. irrespective of the function, we are more sympathetic towards built nostalgia. And this is profound in the case of homes. This is an old house in South Goa, which we demolished and reused all of its elements in an adaptive reuse exercise for an underprivileged household in Kurturi. And I mean, my friends helped me a lot with this. What happened was it improved their living conditions, but it also resulted in the preservation of memory to an extent. And this warm feeling of nostalgia, like someone has a pet dog on their profile, you get this warm, fuzzy feeling. We felt that with homes, you could preserve built nostalgia. And working with the Bus Ride Design Studio, this is sort of a short-term relationship open to long, where short-term users, for example, in cafes or restaurants, took on longevity. They became enduring over long spaces of time because of the way we reimagined certain elements. And the reverse was also true. So, for example, an old house, it's sort of a long-term relationship open to short, where we retrofitted individual rooms, for example, a bar for countertop lab in one room of the house. So it's this heritage cocoon, but it's open to these short-term retrofits which preserve the original. I mean, it's low carbon footprint too. It's not a new bar, but you have the best of both worlds. So I guess my takeaway would be when you're swiping through your houses, maybe ask your designer why. I mean, I'd love to explain every detail like she did too, like Mansi did about the lehenga. There's a thought process behind everything that goes beyond the visual, and I think that just makes everything so much more meaningful and fun. Yeah. Thank you.